This is an interesting question that's come in on the back of my Dr. Rowe on the Go, where some of you have actually obviously seen me out at the spring. We've had a lot of interest from that, collecting spring water. I think people are fascinated by the fact that we are drinking a lot of spring water. We go out and collect it. And the question really came from, why are we doing that? And remember, my passion is to educate. I'm not here to put other things down. You can make your own judgment once you know from the knowledge that you're learning, whether it's from me or from your own due diligence. What I do know about tap water is it's something that's heavily treated. It's heavily chemically treated, moreover. And so there's a lot of things in, for want of a better word, there's a lot of things in water that are not necessarily good for you. And if you haven't been to our Re-Engineering Your Health weekend, do come and take the time to spend 3 days with me, because I go through water and we talk about the quality of water. But just to give you a brief insight, with tap water, there are things in tap water that are not good for you. I mean, you may or may not be aware of this, but there's things called total dissolved solids. Now, in any water, you can measure the total dissolved solids. In tap water, I've seen figures of where we physically measured it over 350. That's very high. When you look at a spring water we drink is anywhere between 100 and 200, and in fact below 100 is great. If you can get to 100 or below, that's very low total dissolved solids. Whereas you take tap water, where there's pharmaceuticals, there's even things like high estrogen levels, believe it or not, all the crap that comes through the surface, it gets in, and all the waste that comes through into the water treatment, where they chemically treat it to try and clean up and destroy all the bad stuff. Chemically treating it doesn't mean to say that you're cleaning it, you're purifying it, you're taking out these total dissolved solids and thinning it down. So there's a lot of bad stuff that sits in there. And of course, we're drinking huge amounts of it, and it finds its way into our stomach. If it can't get out of our system, it'll sit there. And that's why, without even people realizing it, tap water alone carries with it potential health risks. And that's something to consider when you're actually looking at your water systems. And I was asked the question, why spring water as opposed to filtered water? Well, even with filtered water, you're filtering as much as you can out, which is great, but the filtration system may not necessarily do what it's serving you, which is to filter out all the stuff that should be filtered out. Also with spring, and this is a whole conversation in its own right, with spring water it's more live water as opposed to what we call dead water. Then you have what's called alkalizing versus acidity, so there's lots of factors to consider. And natural spring water comes very close to the right alkaline levels, total dissolved solids, all wrapped up into one. So hopefully that helps answer the question.